When I was in prison, I was away from my daughter, and I missed her first tooth, her first walk, her first words. And that was just like a piece of my soul was ripped out of me. My daughter was, for 2 weeks, she was very sick. She was throwing up. I called the doctor. I told her she's throwing up so bad, she doesn't want to eat. He was like, all right, let's bring her to do a well check. They did a well check on her. They checked her body. She didn't have nothing broken. They found out that she had brain bleeds. So I'm like, what do you mean brain bleeds? So they were like, we found a hematoma on the baby. So there they called the police and they called CPS. And they charged me with reckless assault of a child. She was not even a year old. They said that I shook my daughter, and my daughter had a lot of medical issues when she was born. She was having seizures. I wasn't aware of it. And I did 3 years of incarceration behind it. I'm hurt. I'm just hurt as a mother because I love my daughter and I love children, and it's not right. It's a lot of stuff is being hidden, and I was just under a lot of stress. I didn't know what was going on, why this happened to happen to my daughter. So I pled guilty under being scared. They did tell me if I take it to trial that I was looking at 7 years, that I needed to confess. And a mother, 2 years for 7, of course I'm gonna take 2. Not understanding what the charge was and where I was going. They told me I would never see her again. They did scare me to a plea deal. My daughter survived, and she does live with her father, Abel. Abel did not make it easy for me, and he still continues to have whatever he feels in his head that I did this to my daughter. I just want to have a relationship with my daughter. I want her to know that everything that everybody's told her is not true, and I want for Abel to look at me in a different way because I'm her mother, and I'm here to clear my name.
She's a good woman, I can't say that. But what happened to her, I don't know. If she says she wants a relationship with me, stop loving me and be a friend and we can get along. I didn't do this to the child. You can't blame me for doing this to the child. I suffer every day. I waited 15 years to get here. I called your show 6 years ago, Steve. She refused. You know, so why now? Because I put you on child support? My daughter's a baby, can't defend herself. She wound up in the house, so I get a call. The baby's something wrong with the baby, okay? I get to the house where there's a troop of people like I came here. I forgot the lady's name. She said, listen, calm down. I've been doing this for 30 years. This is child abuse. The baby's taking drip. I said, okay, let me see my baby. I went out, and I tell her, look outside. What do you see? She said, nothing. I said, what I see is a bunch of cops ready to arrest you. I said, what happened? She said, I don't know. She didn't have no explanation. I said, well, Janet said you was carrying, your carriage. You felt. You got to say something. You know, no. She wasn't worried about me or my daughter. She was worried about the girl I was with that came to the hospital with me. So,
oh, because at this point, you are no longer in a relationship with
we no longer. Since the day she conceived, it's been hell on earth.
Yeah. So you don't want a relationship with her or anything like that?
No, I'm not at this stage, Steve, there's nothing I can do. I could try to be a friend for the sake of my daughter.
Right.
And I've been trying to do that. I could have lost my daughter. I gave her access to my daughter.
How's your daughter doing?
Right now, she's getting along. She's, right now crying because she says, Daddy, I want to see her, and I want to see her lie in my face. I'm tired. Tell her she took my daughter on a visit and smacked the 13-year-old so hard her face turned. She told my daughter, don't say nothing because they stop our visits.
Jeanette smacked your daughter?
No, her in front of her. So she said, Daddy, and when she talks to her, it's not talking to your child. Right. If I hurt my child anyway, I'm going to try my best to make amends.
Do you think, because Jeanette brings up the fact that she didn't do it, she believes that the daughter suffered brain bleeds due to her
I don't believe it. It's a lie. It's a fabrication. Me personally, I wouldn't cop out something I didn't do, period.
What happened to your daughter when she was a baby?
They called me and said I'd go to the hospital. Said she's been abused by her mother. Take it back a little further. It didn't start there, Steve. It started when she was 3 weeks old, man. She broke my daughter's arm.
I need to tell you something.
You got hello nothing. You ain't got to talk to me. Talk to them. You talk to them.
I did not hurt my daughter.
You killed her. You hurt her like a
You're such a wonderful father. Where were you when I had doctor's appointments? Where were you when I had appointments in Syracuse to take my daughter? You were too busy running the streets. When I called your house and I asked you, Abel, I have an appointment. Can you please come with me? I'm doing this 4 or 5 times a day. Where were you, Abel? You're such a great dad. Where were you? You.
Did you shake your baby causing those injuries?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Why did you plead guilty to this crime if you're innocent?
I was afraid, Steve.
Afraid
I
of
thought
what?
by me telling them what they wanted to hear that I was going to go home, that I was going to get up, and when I got up, they put handcuffs on me. I'd never been in jail in my life. That is not the lifestyle that I was raised.
So you never were arrested in your life, and then all of a sudden you get arrested, and you went to prison for how long?
Yes, I did 3 years. 3 years and 3 years post when I came home. My daughter, when she was first born, she was stuck in my birth canal, and my umbilical cord went down before my daughter, and my daughter got compressed. And I told the doctor, something's wrong with my baby. He said, no, push again. And I told him, no, I'm not pushing. I refused. The doctor stood with his hands crossed for 19 minutes. My daughter was choking in my stomach. And that's how she ended up with the trauma. It's on paperwork. I have all of it.
Did you ever tell Abel that you dropped the baby?
No, I've never had drop the baby. Bleeding on the brain is gonna drop the baby. My daughter was always on top of me all the time.
Now, at 3 weeks old, your daughter had a broken arm.
Yes.
How did that happen?
My daughter was crawling, and she would go on the plate.
At 3 weeks old?
Yeah, my daughter was crawling on the floor. Yes, she was. Yes, she was, Steve. Yes, she was. And if I would have broke my daughter's arm, don't you
Wait a
think...
second. Who has children in here?
I have 2, so yeah.
Okay, and I got 2. Anybody's child crawl at 3 weeks?
Yes, Steve. Yes.
I know.
She does.
I got 2. Neither one crawled at 3 weeks.
Yes, she was crawling, and she'd go like this with her hand.
No way.
Yes,
I
Steve.
mean, I'm sorry. Listen, I'm trying to be really cool and calm and collected here. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, and you served your time. You spent 3 years in prison. I'm going to ask you this. 5 years ago, you didn't want to come on the show.
No, I did not.
Why?
Because I wasn't mentally ready.
Okay. Now you are?
Absolutely, I am.
What changed between now and then?
I had time to get my thoughts together, get my life
It
together.
took 5 years?
What do you think, Steve? I just sat home and played
Okay.
games? No.
But I'm saying...
Of course not.
But I'm saying, like the rest of her story sounds like, okay, maybe she's telling the truth. But then when you're telling us she broke her arm because she was crawling at 3 weeks, then I'm like, nah, that's... All right, so this is the police report, a copy of it. In November of 2008, she was frustrated with the baby because your daughter would not stop crying and that nothing she would get her to stop, so she shook the baby once or twice. Did you tell that to the police?
I did, yes.
Okay, why'd you tell them that?
Because I gave them what they wanted to hear. I was stressed out. What am I supposed to do, Steve? What am I supposed to do?
Did they tell you to say that, or you made that up?
They forced me to say that.
How did they
They forced me, Steve.
How did they force you to say
Because
that?
I was just coming from the hospital from Syracuse seeing my daughter. They said, you need to go to the police station. So I go to the police station, and they asked me, what did you do to your daughter? We're going to be on your side. What did you do? I said, I did not do anything to my daughter.
And then how did you get to the point
And then
where...
they gave me a paper towel, and they said, here, show me how you shook her. And I threw it over there, and they were like, that's how many times you shook her? And I said, you believe what you want to believe. And I went to get up, and they arrested me, Steve. That's what I said. That's what happened.
Okay. So Jeanette came here, took a lie detector test.
And she lied.
And we broke your test into 3 parts: child abuse, shaken baby, and knowledge. So I'll read the child abuse first. Did you cause the broken arm your daughter suffered when she was a baby? You answered no. Have you ever hit your daughter with excessive force causing injury? You answered no. Do you know for sure who caused your daughter's broken arm? You answered no. The results came back all the same, and they came back that Jeanette told the truth. We went on to test you about the shaken baby syndrome. Did you cause the brain bleeds your daughter suffered? You answered no. Did you shake your daughter with excessive force resulting in her injuries? You answered no. The results for those 2 questions came back the same, and they came back to Jeanette told the truth. Then we went on to ask Jeanette, did anyone tell you that they abused your daughter? She answered no. Did you witness anyone abuse your daughter? She answered no. Have you concealed any information regarding the abuse of your daughter? She answered no. The results came back all the same, and they came back that Jeanette told the truth.
Do you think I did nothing to my baby?
Knowing that 15 years ago, wherever it was, that she did feel pressured, or she, for whatever reason, pled guilty, but she didn't cause these injuries. That, let's face it, prison, terrible place. She spent 3 years in there. She comes here and she passes with flying colors, okay? Don't you, in some space inside you, some part of your heart say, okay, she came here. She proved herself. She got robbed 3 years of her life. She didn't do this. Maybe I need her to be able to see her daughter more, to establish a relationship.
Steve, once
again. For the good of your daughter.
Once again, yes, I never had a problem with that, Steve. I didn't take her daughter from her.
Can you imagine going to prison for something you didn't do for 3 years?
I've been in prison 10 years, correct, straight. Yes, I did.
But for something you didn't do?
My first prison bid.
Maybe I don't want to go down that road.
Let's go. That's a whole different subject.
How do you feel with living this for the past 15 years?
I feel blessed, Steve. I feel blessed because I never lowered my head. When I walked out of that prison doors, I knew I had responsibilities, and that was my kids. And I never could walk away from my daughter. She's a part of me. And now all of the medical records can go to hell. I have that lie detector test, and I'm going to run with it. And I'm bringing my daughter.
Good luck, Joe. I'm glad this worked out for you.
I called you, Steve, for help because I watch your show all the time.
Somebody's going to watch this and say, you know what? She was brave enough to do that. I can do that too.